Hey everybody, this is your boy John, aka Captain Mustache here, and yes, today's episode is going to be about the multiverse corruption that we have with when it comes to Marvel and everything else that we got going on here. But yes, the Secret Wars, reset or collapse. So with the second part, is this MCU isn't shrinking, it's stretching. Legacy characters are on still stage, mutants are teased but undefined. A celestial is sticking out of Earth. Kang fractured, nostalgia dominates headlines, and somewhere in the distance, Secret Wars is looming. The question isn't just what the movie will be, the question is what is it going to be? Or sorry, what it has to be. Because at this point, Secret Wars may not even be an event, it may be structural correction. Stay tuned. We're Geeks from the Multiverse. We're here to unite all geeks. It's time to get geeky and dive right in. Cause we're Geeks from the Multiverse. Hey everybody, again, this is your boy John, aka Captain Mustache here. Yes, Geeks from the Multiverse, and as always with me is Mr. Grumpy Beard.
What's up, everybody?
So yes, as I was just briefly saying originally, yes, so with this part 2 of our series here regarding Marvel and our lovely, I guess description of what the hell's going on with Marvel right now. Yes, this is going to be a lot about the Secret Wars and kind of following up on some other topics that we didn't really like dive into last week, regarding the, Doomsday and like a few other things that Marvel was doing, and so like kind of tying in both, that and just trying to, see what your thoughts are because, at this point we're just both Matt and I are at a loss. We're just, we're just trying to figure out what the hell Marvel wants to keep doing and, if it's going to be a riding those waves, or if we're gonna fucking again go into a whirlpool and we're just gonna head down with it. At this point, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this episode is talking. I mean, last week's episode was more about characters and the swaps and the the newer phase. From late phase 4 to where we are now. It's not really about that saturation. It's, I think, for Marvel, just trying to introduce as many characters as possible, and then you lose that somehow. You lose that narrative. But this one, where we are talking more about, how Secret Wars, is it going to reset, or is it going to collapse, or is it going to be what we think it's going to be? But before we get into that, a couple of movies that we wanted to discuss because we are pretty excited about both of these.
Well, in these, I will say this before that is that with these movies, we did talk about them last week, but we kind of want to dive in onto why and just really hopefully what they can do. And again, not so much talking about Marvel here, but we're just saying like movies that we both truly love, and that these movies can, they've had this iconic impact in some different ways in their own genres and their own rights. But go ahead, man. I'll let you tell.
Well, I'm going to start with Scary Movie 6 because you know what? I love Scary Movie 1 and 2.
I think 1, 2, and I think three is okay.
3 is where it started. It was I still like it as a movie, but 3 was where it started. The comedy wasn't quite as funny.
Correct.
It was still a funny movie, granted. It just wasn't as funny as like the Wayans did. And this one is back to,
what they were doing.
Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans, Keenan Ivory Wayans, and Craig Wayans with Rick Alvarez. They are the ones who made 1 and 2. And this, is their 6th movie. But when you have the Wayans actually doing these, like the first 2 were absolutely hilarious, and they were amazing,
and they were iconic in their own right. And I think what they're trying to do, I think I saw a Facebook post a little while ago that when I saw that the Scary Movie 6 was coming out, they even said that we do not care if we offend anybody. Like literally said that in their message, and I was like, that's what they need to do. They need to go back to their roots and go back to. And I mean, when I saw the trailer for this, because I saw it a little bit ago, I was like, holy shit! Like this is some funny ass. Like there's just a lot of new wave stuff, but also like some of the old stuff that they had too.
Yeah,
and it's interesting how they're going back to their roots, ready, because they're following their own fucking blueprint, man.
They are. And, all the characters are pretty much back. I mean, you have Marlon Wayans as Shorty, Sean Wayans as Ray.
Who's the one with the little hand? He's like, hey, it's my strong hand.
Oh, that's Chris Elliott. He
Yes.
played Hanson.
Yes, he's coming back, and I was like,
Sherry O'Terry plays Gail Hailstorm.
Oh yeah, the news reporter, right?
Yeah. Regina Hall, Brenda, Anna Faris, Cindy Campbell.
Yep.
Dave Sheridan as Doofy.
Oh God, I know. I saw that. I was like, oh God,
so awesome. But you have a bunch of new players, and I wanted to go through this level of parody that they're doing in this movie because it is a list of movies. I have the list right here. There's a list of movies here. I don't know if Scream 1 and 2 even went this hard, but
scary.
I'm gonna name it out. This is so Get Out was in 2017.
Yep.
Nope in 2022. Long Legs 2024. Heretic again in 2024. Sinners.
Yep.
2025. Obviously Scream, we know that. And I Know What You Did Last Summer. But there's also Halloween.
Well, then I would have thought Terrifier was another one, right?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, Halloween, Smile, Terrifier, Megan, The Substance, Weapons, Ma.
I don't think I've ever seen Ma.
Wednesday.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Heart Eyes.
I mean, it's crazy that they're doing but again, keep in mind with parody movies, I mean, you take bits and pieces. I mean, these guys are exactly doing that. They're just taking bits and pieces and they're just throwing it in with their original
and
stuff.
I mean, also if you watch the trailer, I mean, Jason Voorhees is like right in the first
the scene of it,
few seconds. So they're taking Jason Voorhees as well, but that's a shit ton of movies to parody, dude.
Absolutely.
And what I missed when I watched the trailer again when you were out of the room, the girl in the trailer that looks like Wednesday.
Yeah.
They call her Tuesday.
Yeah, I did know. I did notice that. I think I was eating something, but I'd heard it. I was like, oh, okay.
And I love that. I love the scene in the trailer where they're parodying that like Sinners, and they're like, hey, we love to party and let's do some half gay shit. And then Ray comes out, he's like, what do you mean half gay?
yeah, right. And then I love that very end one where there's like, can somebody help me? And they're like, we're on fucking break.
We're on break. I'm gonna finish my falafel.
Bitch, right at the end. I was like, oh, that's perfect. I was like, and this is a movie that I think Matt and we can I would love to go see that with you in theaters if we could.
Yes,
I think that would be a great movie to go see.
Yeah, I know. I definitely want to see it, especially seeing like all the different parodies and knowing that the Wayans are doing it. Like,
oh yeah, it's
scary. If you ever seen Scary Movie 5, I watched the whole movie and I didn't laugh once.
So that's the thing though. I've only seen the first two because I think I might have seen 3 too, but like 4 and 5 I never really watched because like I said, I mean, because that's when they started bringing in like Carmen Electra and like a few other people, and it was like Snoop Dogg and
3 was pretty funny. I will have to say that, but like I said, 3 is where
it was weird.
I think that one was Jerry Zucker. That one I think was Jerry Zucker.
Oh, okay.
So one of the Zucker brothers did the other ones.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like you need to have.
As fun. They were. I think the actors they chose were kind of cheesy too.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is like that's when it started to get weird, and like they weren't really going back to their original roots of why it was funny.
Yeah, well, and what made Scary Movie funny is that they weren't just doing parodies on movies, even though that's what it is. Like in Scary, I think it's Scary Movie 2. There's that whole like basketball scene.
Oh yeah.
If you know the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Where they're just dribbling the basketball and they're doing all these like weird dances. And
yep.
That was a Nike commercial.
I didn't know that. I had no idea.
That was like a legit Nike commercial back in the 90s or early 2000s.
Like talking like MJ? Like MJ's maybe Nike commercial or something like that?
I mean, obviously for sneakers, but I don't know. I mean, it wasn't like MJ in particular, but when you watch the actual commercial,
yeah,
it has the same like
all the same movements,
the same music, and kind of the same. Even though like they kind of go on to like the two Wayans like like Ray and Sean, like they're watching Anna Faris and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
her boyfriend like do these like white people
Yeah,
dances,
yeah.
and
Well,
they're
so
just like they have a disgusted look on their face, like what the
well,
hell?
my favorite. I think it was in two. Was it the one oh yeah, it was the when I think it was Sean who it was Shorty. He was like it was the girl with the bag over her head. He's like, "Oh
Yeah,
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 you
yeah,
keep
yeah.
doing that. Yeah,
No, no,
keep
no, no,
doing
no,
that.
no.
Yeah,
Keep it on, keep it
oh,
on.
keep it on. Just keep doing what you're doing." Like just the stupid little scene, but it
Nah,
was just
son.
or it's my strong head,
Oh
and I'm
yeah,
like, yeah.
my germs. Yeah,
He's like, "Oh, don't worry, I got this." No, I just again, you're looking at a movie like this where it just brings back
yeah,
so much nostalgia, but like having some of those new like of course like characters and some of the other parody stuff that they want to bring in. I mean, just watching that trailer, I was like, "Oh, I can't wait for this shit," especially if like you're sitting there and you're just like you're eating something and all of a sudden you'd probably like throw up all this crap because you're laughing so hard of whatever the fuck they're doing in the
yeah.
movie. Now the other one, Mortal Kombat 2, right? So I know Matt and I have discussed this in the past where I know he's big on the OG stuff. I'm like, okay, well, some of the newer stuff is nice, but it's interesting because I know Matt and I have talked about Mortal Kombat, the newer one, because it was interesting because the whole Johnny Cage thing, and this is where because this is really focusing, at least the trailer was really focusing on the Johnny Cage piece of this. I still I can see him playing, and it's Carl Urban who plays Johnny Cage in this
Mhm.
movie. I just at first I'm like, I don't see it. I do. I mean, I kind of see it now where he wears the sunglasses and that thing. He's like, you know, I don't remember that. Like, let's do this or whatever the hell he says. Like, I can see, some of this, like being okay, but like, I mean, I did like how they brought in Shao Kahn. I think they brought in Sindel because I remember that one. There was one scene in there that it was like she was like, "Wah," it was like screaming and
Yeah.
stuff. And then they brought in some of the like Baraka and like a
I
few
have I
others.
mean, I have a character list if you.
Yeah, if you want to.
Johnny Cage, Katana. Apparently, there's going to be a young Katana as well.
Okay.
Sonya Blade, Kano, Liu Kang, Jax, Jade, Cole Young,
Yeah, Cole Young. Yeah.
Quan Chi,
Oh, okay. I didn't
uh,
see Quan Chi, but yeah. Well,
Shang
then,
Tsung,
yeah.
Lord Raiden, Scorpion, Shokan,
I'm assuming Noob Saibot is another one.
King Jared, Queen Sindel, Kung Lao, Baraka, and then
Oh, King Jared.
Noob Saibot. Yep.
So it's funny if you don't know about King Jared is like, so with Katana and um, Melina, so well, Sindel was there. It's Melina's mother, right? If I'm not mistaken, or not Melina, Katana's mother,
Yes.
and then King Jared is actually her actual father, but Sindel I think is a stepmom, and I think that Melina was like kind of like that weird stepchild, whatever you want to call it. But like, it's interesting that they're bringing in King Jared because you don't hear that name as often, and not many people know that unless you play Mortal Kombat and you actually know who he actually is. Because even Jade is another one that kind of follows that whole King Jared thing too. But no, it's interesting to see that because I mean, I love like the only thing that Matt and I will agree that it is weird with the first Mortal Kombat that you have a guy named Cole Young, who's literally the main character in this movie, and he has nothing to do with.
See, this one, the main character is Johnny Cage. It's
No,
not
no, no.
Cole
I
Young,
know,
but
but
yeah,
but you see what I'm saying though. Like Cole Young was never supposed to exist. Like it doesn't. Like
he's a
there's
brand
no
new character.
right. So where
Right.
Johnny Cage, sure, you could make him kind of like a main character, but like in the like I understand like the original Mortal Kombat like movies and stuff, it was Sonya, Jax, and really Johnny that were kind of like the main, and then like you would see Reptile, and you'd see Scorpion, you'd see like all the other ones, and you'd kind of like you'd have Raiden, and you'd have Shao Kahn, you'd have all these other characters come in, but it was like a collective main
Yeah.
characters. There wasn't like it was like one main character. But in the first Mortal Kombat, like I said, with the whole Cole Young thing, I just thought it was weird because it
I
doesn't make
mean,
sense.
I can only say that the first movie was really just the setup for this movie,
Oh no, I agree.
and for what it's worth, I mean, I was always a Noob Saibot guy. Like
Oh, I
Noob
love it.
Saibot was an
It was
amazing character to play, and to see him like actually in this
oh
movie,
yeah,
like that's
and I saw the trailer, and then I saw that I thought it was cool that Scorpion was literally it was like he was versing both like his physical form and then his like ink form, I guess, or whatever, like his other
yeah.
whatever part of him. But
But
like
from what I understand, there's supposed to be in this movie they show a ton more actual like fatalities and when they're fighting, you actually will see more of their move sets.
Oh, interesting.
So, and I know in one of the scenes, like with Katana,
Yeah, it
like
was that spinning.
she was doing the spinning,
Yeah, yeah,
fan move,
yeah. I
and
saw
that
that.
is one of her, one of the moves in the game.
Well,
I love that they spend that kind of a detail
well,
in these movies where you can be like, I mean, in the first one they had the whole
it was what's his face? The one with the hat, the one that was spinning.
Kung Lao.
Kung Lao. Yeah.
I was actually thinking of Sub-Zero when he took
Oh, the ice pick.
Jax's arms
Oh yeah, and he
and he
froze him,
froze him and he like
and he yanked him
and
off.
he yanked him off. I was like, oh, dude, that's a fatality right
Well,
there. Like
it's
that's so cool.
well, the reason why I was thinking Kung Lao is because when he had his head or his hat was just spinning on the ground, like he would just basically he like push them and like they would split in half and so you got to see all that gore and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But like, no, I agree with you. I think it'd be interesting to see like I don't know if Carl Urban's going to be able to do this, but the whole like Johnny Cage like splitting the legs and like uppercut like basically where the balls are at and just like
They'll probably
bam.
do the same as they did with Thor and Love and Thunder.
Oh yeah, well that's what I mean. It's just like
just a lot of CGI with that. But
yeah, because
I don't think Carl Urban being probably in his 50s at this
you're
point.
probably not going to be able to do a split and then
Like,
go.
you want me to do what?
You want me to do what with my back?
No,
And
that's not happening.
he's like, listen, do you want me to get back up? It's like, because I ain't getting back up after this.
But I was actually, I mean, you don't see Quan Chi in the trailer. I
know,
believe.
I know you don't, because I don't remember seeing him.
But I mean, he was initially the one that lied to Hanzo.
Yep, that is right. You are right.
About he brought. I mean, I think he brought him back as Scorpion to do something different than what was intended. But like he was the one that like basically lied to Bihan.
Yes. Yeah, Bihan. Yeah.
Not Hanzo. He actually lied to Bihan that of what he was doing, and then so Quan Chi was a big manipulator in that whole.
Well, the whole noob Cybot piece to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the noob Cybot piece too. Yeah. So that's. But it is one of those things like when in the game, at least in the original games, because they rebooted the
I know
the universe.
I know.
But in the original games, like Sub-Zero, when he went to the underworld, comes back as Noob Saibot.
Yeah, well, from the remake, because I guess right. So like what they did was so like Bihan did die, like somebody killed him, and then basically Quan Chi did bring him back from the dead and made him, Noob Saibot, and then basically his brother, I can't remember his brother's name. Bihan's brother becomes the new Sub-Zero in that sense, takes the mantle, all that stuff. But anyways, no, like we're saying is like these movies, like I said, I'm excited for them. I'm looking forward to this because this is the same kind of hype that we should be having with basically our topic, Secret Wars, and everything else that we've been talking about. Because this is just nice nostalgic kind of piece to it where we're looking at Mortal Kombat, we're looking forward to scary movie, but we're not as excited. Hopefully, like I said, Doomsday is really going to be really the determining factor, because if not, if that doesn't do anything justice.
I mean, do I think it'll be as big as like Endgame? Yeah, I mean, the Russo brothers are doing both Doomsday and Secret War, so I do think.
No, but they need to do it correctly. That's the question.
Well, yeah, I mean, the question is, are they going to be able to do it correctly the way that we as fans want it, or is it going to be more of the crap that we've been getting? And I don't know. I mean, we have like these legacy returns, right? These nostalgic returns, and again, I say this word I said it all like maybe 5-6 times in the last week's episode, but we become so saturated with some of these like legacy characters. I mean, we have No Way Home. Was it No Way Home?
Yeah, it's No Way Home.
With Toby and Andrew returning in their Spider-Man.
Well, right,
roles.
Yep.
Multiverse of Madness. We have Patrick Stewart as Xavier. Deadpool and Wolverine. We got Hugh Jackman. Blade was supposedly in development, but we have potentially Wesley Snipes coming back.
Now.
Potentially. The guy's in his 60s at this point.
He's got to be in his. Actually, I'll look it up. But go ahead.
But we have Fox era cameos constantly circulating. I mean, Doomsday and Secret Wars. they're supposed to be in, in all these movies. Like I think one of the scenes from one of the Marvel drops, like we had the one with Chris Evans, but we had another one that showed Cyclops in there. But
Yeah.
we have like all these nostalgia. They're driving hype, but there's some tension
Right.
because with the current MCU and the current state of the MCU, like you just can't introduce a new Wolverine while Hugh Jackman is still playing Wolverine. I mean, you can explain the timeline and well, it's a different look. You can't have Patrick Stewart. You can't have Hugh Jackman. You can't have all of these people that played original X-Men and then being like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is your replacement right over here." And this is your new Wolverine, and this is your new Beast, and this is like.
So I was just going to mention real quick is like Wesley Snipes is in his 60s. I just checked; he's 63. But I was going to say this. So like,
Damn.
yeah, he's so
That
again.
makes me
he's-
feel wicked old.
I know
dude.
that's what I'm saying. I'm like, damn, I didn't realize he was that old. But no, but I agree with you. You know, when you're looking at like the characters, like if you're having them play them now and you're trying to do all this, like what they should have done, and this is the hard part, right? Because like you need to build the characters, you need to be able to do this, so you need to have, new cast, new this, and you have Patrick Stewart, playing, still Xavier, and then Hugh Jackman playing as Wolverine again. Toby and Andrew, that was kind of like a one-off thing, so that's not a big deal. But like at least the Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman thing, like you need to end that shit, and you need to, put it on.
They should never have and I know like Disney acquired Fox, right? Like they acquired all the franchises, whatever, but they should have never introduced Patrick Stewart in that Doctor Strange movie. They should have never, had Beast
Right.
in
The
that.
original, and with the Captain Marvel or the Marvels.
Yeah, the Marvels. They should have never had Beast in that little cameo at the end credit scene or whatever it was. They should never have just included, even Doomsday or Secret Wars. Like, just let the Fox era
Die.
mutants, X-Men die. Like,
So you know what? I just not to throw a little side topic here, but I was just thinking about something. So like with Xavier, right? So the guy who played Hitman, like in the Hitman movie and stuff, I don't know exactly who that is, but I was thinking about it because if you could have a guy that could,
the original Hitman movie or the one they remade?
oh shit, I don't know. Maybe you have to look up both. The reason why I'm saying this is because if you get a guy like that, where again, yes, he's bald, he's this and that. If you play a guy who's bald like that, because you really need someone that's younger, right? Or you need or like younger, or I wouldn't say like too young, but I would say like if you could get somebody in their like 40s and 50s ish, someone that's bald, someone that's like kind of like a mentor kind of a thing, and then like you have Wolverine that's could be like maybe 30s or 40s or whatever, depending on
So the original Hitman in 2007 was Timothy Oliphant.
Okay, so
Unless you're talking the newer one.
I don't know if it was the newer one or the older one, but what I'm saying is if you get guys like that where you can hopefully play them something like that, and again sitting in a chair, and like have like what they did in Multiverse of Madness, like something similar to that. But again, like having Wolverine, because this is a big one, right? So if you have somebody like, they talked about,
I don't know who this guy is, but the newer one, Agent 47,
yeah,
is Rupert Friend. I have no idea.
I have no idea either. No, I was just thinking more like if you took, like Tom Hardy, like they've said, Tom Hardy could be a great individual to play Wolverine, or have somebody like that. I mean, hell, I'd even have Henry Cavill fucking play, Wolverine in that sense.
Calverine?
Calverine, or no, but like, you know what I mean? Like have somebody like that, or have any of those two, somebody like that in that Agent 47 or whatever, right? Something somewhere that they're like can be close enough where they can make them look a certain age or something like that, but they can play it for a while, and build those characters up because, right now, with this whole nostalgic thing, like we just don't like it's great to see. Like it was awesome to see Patrick Stewart. It was awesome to see Hugh Jackman, but like
Yeah,
you said,
it
there's
sells
no
tickets.
reason, right? But there's no reason to bring
right.
them back.
It sells tickets.
Yeah, and that's the problem, right? Because if we're trying to build a foundation, right? Right now, it's not doing that. It's not doing any.
No, you're
justice
using old
whatsoever.
characters that have no. Listen, right? Like Patrick Stewart's Professor X, Beast, all of these Fox era people have no future in the MCU.
No, and they've already established that. They've already said like,
I mean, Patrick Stewart is well beyond his 80s.
well, we already checked, but yes,
Yeah.
no, he's like in his early 80s, but like, and then even Ian McKellen playing Magneto. I mean, that's another person we'll talk about down the road too. But
Yeah.
again, it's similar. They're in their 80s. Like you have to find people that are younger. Like I said, in that, like, I would say maybe the like late 40s, early 50s, where you can still have a longevity of having people play these characters for quite a while, and they make sure that they can do all that. Then they can build the stories around this too. But that's the issue, is that, yes, don't get me wrong, like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen played excellent, versions of these characters. But the issue, like we've said, is if you're only focusing on the nostalgic piece of this whole thing, it's not going to do any justice down the road, because no offense, they should be in a retirement home by now, and they should be hanging out doing whatever they want.
I mean, technically in the MCU, if you brought in Magneto now,
yeah, he's fucking 90.
he's going to be like 90 years old,
and he's going to not play any part of this. So like, that's the other thing. So you have to think, how, like, where are you going to put the origin story? Is this like Vietnam? Maybe is this like early 90s? Like,
does it even? I mean, does it hit the same?
It's not going to hit the same, and that's the problem, and that's the issue.
Yeah. So I mean, if you keep these legacy characters active, right? You get new castings that feel like they're downgrades, because you're going to be comparing who's the more dominant version, and it's the emotional attachment always will skew to the past characters. Like
Right.
if you did Marshall Ali as Blade, he will never be as good as Wesley Snipes.
No, but the problem is, though, is that at least with Marshall Ali, he was probably as close as you're going to get to a newer version of Blade.
Yes.
And that was the part that pissed me off, that when they kept saying, oh, we need to change the script. Oh, we need a new director. Oh, we pick a fucking script and make it actually make sense, and stop having these, what was it? This lesbian, like, again, see the theme here? We're not joking here, because like literally it was just about something else that had nothing to do with Blade. It wasn't a Blade movie. You might as well just call it a spinoff.
Yeah, the movie wasn't going to be Blade was in it.
No, right. He was in it for like here and there, and there was very few action scenes.
Blade wouldn't have been the main character. It basically was like a female version of himself or something that was like...
Yeah, and they even said, like, what's the point of making this movie if you're not going to stick to the script, or stick to something that actually makes sense?
When your script sucks and has 15 minutes of action, and, it's like 15% action, 85% all dialogue and narrative. Like, that's not a fucking movie. Okay, that's a shit show.
That's a talking point, because that's all it is.
A shit show. But like, we don't have, like, you keep these legacy characters like all the time, the nostalgia, whatever. Like, yeah, sure, it sells tickets, but we don't get that foundation. We don't get the emotional attachment that we would if you just left the original X-Men alone. If you just left, and I loved seeing Hugh Jackman.
Oh, I definitely do as well.
I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve to be, but the dude is 57. Like, how many more of these I mean, the joke in the movie that he was that he was going to keep doing it when he was 90, right?
Yeah,
like,
and it's like, no.
It's probably realistic if they keep doing it, but like, you also have to take in the narrative of, and we're going to get to this mutant timeline problem, but they just discovered adamantium.
Right, and they fucked up then, and that's what we're saying. And
So
that's what we said
if you're
before.
keeping Hugh Jackman, you're creating a huge fucking problem, because obviously in his timeline, adamantium was created a long fucking time ago.
Right, and we're talking the 60s now. And, so then that, again, so like we've already established that, Wolverine was technically born in the 1800s. So like right now, he would be, well, I mean, he's over 200 years old, that's for sure. But like, at the same time, like he had his bone claws up until literally the 1960s. So that means he was like 100 and something by the time, he finally got his adamantium claws. So like by the time he, finally was here in the present, that it wouldn't make sense. The origins wouldn't make it it wouldn't justify anything.
No, and they just discovered adamantium, so they haven't begun to even trial out what it would look like or what it, this Weapon X program. I mean, Wolverine wasn't the first one. That's why he's Weapon X.
Well, and that's the thing is like, you look at the origins. Like you're talking comic books, you're talking the fucking blueprint that we've mentioned I don't know how many times here. And then when you're talking about Tiamat and you're talking about the Celestial, and that's how adamantium was created. I mean, that's why I know Man and I both agree that it was the dumbest thing they could have ever done, especially when it comes to the timeline and screwing up an origin story
Yeah.
for one of the most basically sacred characters. And pretty much, I'm not saying all of Marvel, but at least the most people who at least know Marvel, it's like that's like
Wolverine.
but again, it's one of those sacred origins that you don't want to fuck with, and you just fucked with.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you're talking also Magneto, right?
Another one.
Holocaust origin. If you read the comic books, I'm sure it's pretty similar that his parents were taken.
Right.
He was also,
He was technically he's technically a Jew if I'm not mistaken, but like again, we're talking about concentration camps.
right,
what
and
we're
that's where
talking
he
about.
was in 1940s Europe. Okay, what year is it now? 2026. So, I mean, in an MCU timeline, he would have to be almost 90,
Well,
if not
yeah,
older than that.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, so if he was, I mean, so think about it like this: 19. We'll call it 19.
I mean, even if he was
1941.
even if he was a child, he
I
would
mean, he'd
still
still
be
be in
like
the 30s. So I mean, you're talking, yeah, he'd be almost 100, depending on like how old he was at that time.
And Magneto is not like Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, it's not like he just automatically can age infinitely
Yeah,
and stay
fine
healthy.
wine.
Like he's
Yeah.
a normal human, just a mutant.
Right, and so like he doesn't have that regenerative.
You would have to
properties.
explain aging. But you would also have to take 1940s Europe and make it what, like 1960s, 1970s?
That's what I'm saying. You'd have to go like Vietnam era, which isn't the same effect.
No,
But not
it's not even
1940s.
remotely the same effect.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it wouldn't make sense. And plus, like I said, and just what Matt was saying too, is like you're talking Professor X, who, same thing. He was, granted, he wasn't, in concentration camps, but like, again, he was basically, they're similar in age, and so like you're talking, you'd have to make them a hell of a lot older. And I mean, granted, him being in a wheelchair, sure, I guess you could play that off, but it would look weird, and that's why we're saying about the whole skewing of the past and all this other crap because it just wouldn't feel the same.
I mean, you're talking somebody that would have to be born, what? We're talking
At least
60s, maybe?
maybe
60s, 70s. I mean, I was 79 and I'm 46. So,
right. So you'd have to. So I would think that maybe the '60s, like maybe like early '60s or something like that.
I mean, if you had them in their 50s, I mean, and then you're like, okay, well, if the Holocaust is what shaped Magneto to be Magneto,
Right. How's the
is
Vietnam
there
War?
is there a Holocaust adjacent event
You know what it is?
in somewhere within the 70s?
Yeah, you know what it's called? Either Woodstock or no, I'm joking. I was thinking either Woodstock or just the hippie movement. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, and where you do the same thing for
He's like
Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I mean, even though yes, he can heal, but does he really just live forever? Like, is he going to be 400, 500, 600?
Well, it's not
I
like
mean, as far as I know, like the only couple characters that have lived long, like I'm talking
thousands of years.
thousands of years, would be like
The Thing.
the Thing and Hulk.
Correct. And we both understood now that, the Thing, for example, actually can grow a beard. And that's something we didn't know.
Hey,
But again, no,
you
you're
didn't
right, though. No, but I didn't know at the time. You didn't know either. No, but you're right, though, because like I said, at some point, you just don't, it's just not going to make sense. And I feel like if that's where they're heading, especially where, if they're supposed to introduce this in Secret Wars or even in Doomsday or whatever the fuck they want to do, they have to do it right or they have to find a way to make it make sense. But even then, I feel like you can only do that for so long.
yeah. I mean, do you think? And I'm going somewhere with this, but
Oh boy.
With Secret Wars,
Okay, here we go.
that the modern timeline of the MCU
Oh, so not the this line or that line or the other
No, no, no.
three.
I'm talking all modern,
Okay, so all of everything going on. Yep.
that all of a sudden they have to reset, and now like the MCU would take place somewhere in like the 70s or the 80s, because that would be, I think, one of the only things that I think you probably could do that you wouldn't have to change.
Well, think about like the when we watched Fantastic Four. You know what I mean? Like when they, granted, it was another timeline. Yes, I love that word. And then yes, it was based in a, I guess, modern day '60s vibe thing, whatever the fuck they were doing. You'd have to do something like that where they could be close enough where it's like, oh yeah, hey, we've been around for the last 10 years, but hey, see that you guys just started up, and But I agree with you. Like either you go back in the past, or you have to have this like almost like technological young Avengers, kind of like effect where you have to like you have to like somehow replace that whole thing and somehow like make it futuristic in a sense where it would make sense. Like, oh, hey, did you know that World War III just happened, and then that's how they shaped it? I don't know. Like I said, I don't really know how they're planning on trying to
'Cause
make this
I
work.
just I don't see how you can make it like, if the MCU continues to be 2025, 2026, you're basically going to have Ian McKellen working up until he dies on set,
So hey
because
guys,
the dude can't even, move at this point. Like, Magneto in a wheelchair, and he just like Stephen Hawking's, like he has to talk through a computer.
Jesus man,
Like, I'm just
no,
saying,
I
the
know what
dude
you mean.
Ian McKellen is old. I mean, how much more do you think he's going to be able to do physically,
Well, I mean, you look at
as opposed to changing? You take Secret Wars and you basically sever the tree, and
well,
you plant a new tree with new timelines, and you're now like, you can base everything like in from the 80s, and now Wolverine and all of these characters you can still have the same backstories.
well, he'd be like basically Dick Van Dyke, who's literally 100 years old right now. So like you're talking about a guy like that basically trying to do that too. So it's just I agree with you. I don't know where they're at this point trying to go, but I think kind of moving on
He's
too.
86 years old, Ian McKellen.
Well, that's the other thing, right? So like here's another thing, and this is something I feel like we're gonna we'll kind of move on from this, but like Wolverine and the whole Weapon X thing, right? So here's the part that we've talked about before, and we're just going to try to go over this kind of quick. Is that the reason why this is important? At least, in like I said, when we're talking about the sacred story or like the origins of Wolverine, so we've already said this, right? So if adamantium is celestial based, that means Weapon X becomes celestial mining, global metal distribution shifts. Wolverine's origin definitely has a major adjustment,
Oh yeah.
right? So then why didn't, Weapon X intersect with Hydra, Shield, Sokovia Accords, the blip, any of these major events that have happened? Like where was this in the timeline of the original story? And then so again, continuity strains, they increase, and there's really just no way to, again, how are you going to fit all that, especially where, I mean, you could say Hydra maybe, and then like maybe Shield took over at some point, or whatever. Maybe it's both.
But I mean, Brave New World was set current.
No, I know, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying, why wouldn't it
it
have been
wasn't
somewhere there?
it wasn't quite like, Marvels or something that was set
Like
like 90s, or,
that, like for me, like the what would make the most sense if that was the case, if they did it the right way, they could have said that Shield was doing it, Hydra stole that technology, or tried to manipulate that. They created like some sort of like basically adamantium. Hydra did in the sense because they were trying to maybe improve their soldiers or something, and then that's when they could have done the whole
but
Wolverine thing.
I mean, you just created it. What they should have done was introduced it, like even in Endgame, when they go back to the past, like you can, when you show Hank Pym, right? He was in
Oh
this
yeah,
lab, like you could have showed him trying to do this experiment, and you're like, oh, well, that could have been the start of adamantium.
right.
No, they bypassed it, and then all of a sudden now, you know adamantium is celestial.
hmm No, that's what I mean though. Is like I said, taking either like a Hydra Shield event like back in the day, or like you said back in the 70s when they did that in the whole end game. We're just showing you different areas because like there's no way you could do that in Sokovia Accords, and you couldn't do that in the blip. You'd have to do the Hydra Shield thing like back in the day, or you'd have to do something like you just said, go back in time with Endgame, and then somehow like he's working on it, like show a scene where he's like, oh hey, I'm trying to make this new metal in a sense or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been as simple as Hank walking by,
Yeah, it says Weapon
um,
X or something stupid. I don't know.
Tony's father and going, "Hey, you got that new metal working yet?" And he's like, "No," and then you're like, "Oh boy, there it
But
is."
you know what I mean? Like, but just throwing that little quick sentence out. I mean,
Yeah.
something to say like, oh, there's that's where that's coming into play, and then now they're like introducing it or
No,
whatever.
it was just it's newly introduced because of the Celestial. That was like their explanation, and it just you can't have a Wolverine probably for a new Wolverine for a number of years because you just discovered it.
Right.
It would be like, well, guess what? We have a cure for cancer. No. You don't just get there. Like
You don't just show up there.
you don't just get to that point. Like you have to like do shit. You have to research and you have to like do other things. Like they have to research what adamantium actually is and what it does and the actual application of it. One, it's probably not even liquidized. So
No,
you would have to even invent that process of liquefying it so that you can even make Wolverine to begin with.
correct. And so again, you can't just bolt mutants onto a universe that this is already documented. So like, it's at the point of like we said, I feel like right now there is no point of return, and the only way you can at this point is either reset it, or again, because you'd have to either go back in time or you'd have to reset the whole damn universe and just say we're done. We're gonna
And
restart
that's
this.
what we're assuming is going to happen, but again, we don't know. I mean, it's speculation, but we have these MCU mentions of mutants versus Inhumans, and you know, Kamala Khan was labeled a mutant. Namor labeled a mutant. Wanda was also altered. Inhumans were introduced
Then abandoned.
and then abandoned, and then we had Black Bolt. But somehow, and I don't know, you can speak without opening your mouth, John.
Did you not know?
You know,
You know? Yeah, and then
but it's just it's weird that that would occur in that same manner. Like he would just blow himself up. I mean, his power was outward.
yeah, and then he would just go hello, and then boom, all of a sudden, just like that
Yeah.
one word. No, but I agree with you. Is that especially this whole mutant thing. This is the part that pisses me off too, especially with Kamala, because that's when they originally stated this whole mutant thing.
Yes.
And because with Wanda, like yes, we knew that again, Wanda and Quicksilver were technically children of Magneto, which is why we were like, oh, this is going to be great. We're like, let's see this happening. That was their original connection, which we were thinking that at some point the X-Men would show up. But then we're like, oh, well, Fox owns the rights still. We're not going to see that for a long time.
Well, I mean, didn't they make basically Wanda and him like their test tube babies, right?
So, yeah, something like that. But that's the other thing. They also screwed that up. So they screwed their origin as it was. And they're not technically, again, because of Sokovia, because that's where they were originally from. It's like, okay, well, they're not even remotely near, Magneto at this point, or like, makes any sense. But like the point is too, is that, when Kamala was mentioned as a mutant, that will like that it was her friend or whatever. I was like, oh wait, this says mutant, and like literally that was all like he said that really quick, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, end the show, and you're like, you motherfucker, like you mentioned it, and then you don't even fucking bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, which is weird because the Fox era Quicksilver, right?
Oh yeah.
Had
Hold on, which one?
The Fox era one.
Oh, you're talking the first class and all that shit,
yeah.
like all that. Okay,
that was introduced that he was Magneto's son.
yes,
But there was also no Wanda in that. Just
you're right. There was no Wanda whatsoever.
But that was introduced in not just one movie, but a couple of those like
Well,
newer X-Men movies
well,
that he was
correct.
related.
Well, and that was the other thing, and it's ironic enough that when you see Wanda and like the WandaVision, like of course the original guy who played Quicksilver in the Fox series of things, yeah, he shows up randomly for a quick. Hey, did you not know I'm your brother? And you're like, why are you here right all of a sudden? No, and it was just like I said, it really doesn't make any sense because at this point,
I think the key word here is
it's messy,
confusion.
confusion and messy
Yes.
because it's to the point where we just don't know what they're trying to do. There again, this is why we said in this last episode. There's so much like fucking shit going on. There's no follow up, because we have these great characters that can be introduced, but they're not using them correctly, and they're not like finding ways to like.
Because they have to feel like they got to change their backstory, like Kamala. Like her whole backstory of how she, like her powers in general,
Yeah.
was completely different.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you make her cosmic. Why? Because you need to fit her in the Marvels movie because that's what you had her planned for. Like, no, you make her who she is in the comics, and then you develop that character. I understand, like, you can invent new things. You can make your own creative decisions. But when you have a blueprint, it's there for a reason.
Right, and I know that even with I mean Namor, at least in the sense of this, I mean him being labeled as a mutant, I was gonna say he's an Atlantean. He's half Atlantean and half human. So like, is he really a mutant?
No,
Like, you know what I mean?
not
Like,
really.
you know what I mean? Like, basically he's a part of a species, like of a different type of humanoid thing. But I just look at him and I'm like it's cool that we saw him, but like again, we only saw him one time. There's no follow through. There's no nothing. And again, this whole confusion of like, okay, great. So like, is he going to now be considered a hero? Is he going to somehow play into Secret Wars as well? With at least with the Condons? Like, I don't know. And this is
I have no idea. But Secret Wars, I mean, at least offers a clean origin baseline, one mutant definition, and hopefully one timeline. Like, this is where we're saying Secret Wars has to go. Like, they have to make this definition of, is it like in the comics where they had this mutant X gene within them that became activated?
right.
Or were they already born like that? Like Namor, I think, was born that way.
Yeah, he was in the movie, like the way if I remember correctly is like, yes, he was like of course his mother I think was Atlantean, and like he had a father that was on land or whatever. I don't know. The point is like, they met, they whatever, he basically went down to Atlantis, did all that shit, and then became the king of Atlantis or whatever down the road. So like it's cut and dry, but at least it's there. But at least you see something about it. But like like you're saying, with Secret Wars, and like I said, I'm only gonna say this. I'm not saying that Secret Wars isn't gonna hopefully define all this shit. Doomsday is really the test. Doomsday needs to like you need to show us what we're about to see in Secret Wars. Because or you better show us something really good on Doomsday, because if that doesn't show us anything about what the future is going to like literally hold, and if Doomsday doesn't do as well, I'm not looking forward to Secret Wars. I probably won't even see it if Doomsday doesn't do as good as hopefully it should be. Now, hopefully they surprise us, with that, because again, it's coming out this year. Secret Wars is at least next year, and then of course, maybe if they do a part 2, whatever. But the other thing too, and this is what we're talking about, regarding characters and like trying to, redo them, is this whole actor clock thing, because we've mentioned already that Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Hugh Jackman, they're all old at this point when it comes to like playing their character. So think about it like this, right? So when you look at, RDJ playing Iron Man, Chris Evans playing Cap, Chris Hemsworth, all of them, right? You're talking, they had to do, this 10 to 15 year gap, right? They have to make sure that they're in these roles for a while, and they do have their limits. These roles have, physical limits that you can only do it for so long, because nobody even on the planet Earth, I mean, like if you're lucky, like, Dick Van Dyke being 100 years old, or, people that are older than that, great. But at a certain age, you will there are certain things you cannot do that you did when you were doing all this stuff. So
Yes.
realization is when you're looking at, those three that we mentioned, you need to make sure that, who's playing these characters, they're hopefully going to sign on for, because that's what Marvel's done. It's, you know what? I'm going to say it, Matt. It's an expectation. They made an expectation of these characters because they want them to play with these characters for so fucking long that you need to. And so when you look at, like I said, Patrick Stewart, yes, he was great. Ian McKellen, great. Hugh Jackman, great. Find somebody of that caliber in a younger version, and that's the hard part. That's the part that they need to figure out.
It is.
How are they going to do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can find another Patrick Stewart lookalike at a younger age. I don't know if you can do the same thing with Hugh Jackman or Ian McKellen. They're their own people, but at the same time, or you find that creative, whatever, like their wisdom or whatever the hell it is. The point is just figure out something so you can actually hopefully get these characters on the screen and it actually makes sense.
See, I think the difference was prior to Disney, Marvel used to sign long-term contracts. Prior to Disney.
Correct.
After Disney, Disney does not sign long-term contracts.
Which
So they will probably sign, if they do Patrick Stewart, they'll be like, well, we have you in 3 movies, as opposed to when they were before Disney, you would be signed for like 10 or, 8 to 10, 12 movies. This is what we want you to do. This is your contract. No questions, no buts, no nothing. Like, you're this character for the next however many years it takes to get to 8 movies.
Well, but it's true.
You can't do that with Patrick Stewart. I mean, Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, they're both over 80. Hugh Jackman is 57. I mean, Hugh Jackman still may have a lot of juice, but at the same time,
it's not going to be the same.
are you going to have a Wolverine that's like 65?
Hey, how you doing there, Sonny? Let me hey, get back here.
You can't have Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen like taking hits, dodging things and jumping off buildings and
no. I mean, look, you can look.
Can you picture Ian McKellen like on one of those like string rigs, like suspended like in the air? Like, what are you thinking he's going to do? Have you seen Ian McKellen lately? The dude's like a stick figure. He's old as shit.
No, I know, but I mean, I can just imagine if they used him like as a puppet.
He'll just be up there spinning like, "Help me, get me down from here,
please! I just want my Jello and my pudding." No, you're like, wait, what? No, and you're right. I mean, because right now, if Marvel waits, they'll be forced to recast, mid-arc, and that's the other thing too, is that we've seen this already so many times. I mean, the fact that we can't even get another Kang, because now they've already, again, they're basically saying, shh, it didn't happen.
No, fuck that character.
Fuck that guy.
It's all the actor's fault.
Yeah, it's all that, right. And then so like, you get like, RDJ now playing Dr. Doom. Okay.
Like you couldn't have possibly found somebody different?
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. Or like somebody else, like RDJ, if like that was the case, then that's what it is. But like now, like I'm also thinking of like Galactus, right? Because like the guy who plays him now, that's fine. You can CGI the shit out of that. That doesn't matter. I'm just saying at this point, when it comes down to, the villains and stuff they're being, portrayed. I mean, you could only do so many villains now because, for example, Red Skull would have been a great one to bring back, but he's fucking hanging out in, goddamn, I can't even remember the fucking world, but the one where the Soul Stone's at. Like, he's not going anywhere. He's fucked. He's sitting there waiting for eternity at this point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you'd have to recast someone like him. Or all these different villains.
I mean, to be honest, you can't even use Red Skull because he's stuck on that fucking planet.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like you have like some of the best villains that they've already used. It's like they come and go, and so you'd have to like almost recreate the wheel, and it sucks. And that's where we're also saying. So, at this point, if Secret Wars, what it can happen. Well, we'll see if they allow it at this point. Is like the heroic send offs, right? The clean recast. New long-term contracts, fresh runway. At some point, nostalgia becomes gravity. I mean, you look at this and you say, well, you're right, the send-off. So, like, technically, a lot of the ones that died, they could have died here, but they didn't. And like you said, like like clean recast, fresh runway, like passing of the mantle kind of a deal. Like
Yeah.
those could have been like stuff like that, but they
I
didn't.
mean, what'll be interesting is how they go about doing this in Secret Wars. I mean,
I don't even think you can.
who they kill off, because you have to kill people off.
Okay, but here's
you
the
have
thing:
to do it.
we don't know anybody right now. We don't know what the fuck's going on. We have no idea what these characters are doing because we haven't seen.
No, because
progression.
in Secret Wars, you'll see everybody back. You'll see an Iron Man. You'll see Steve Rogers, Captain America. You'll see Hulk. You'll see everybody that has been introduced. Even the Fox era people, like,
Right, which doesn't make any sense.
you have to do something with them. You can't just have them all be alive and be like, "Hey, we're continuing the MCU with Patrick Stewart as Professor X." The dude's gonna be like 132 and be like, "I need to stop acting."
I think I shit myself.
You know what? He'll be like Grandpa in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like he'll be in the chair all crusty and the skin's flaking off, and they'll be like, "Nope, get him in that fucking scene. We need him." Okay. We'll get a Patrick Stewart.
What's my line again?
Vocal coach person that
No,
can,
well,
that can mimic the voice, and we'll just.
No, well, not even that. I mean, at that point, you might as well just say, put him on some strings. Just start.
No, that'll be Ian McKellen.
Oh, that's Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. So at least with Patrick, you could just sit there and,
Like, strap that corpse up there. I'm not dead. You're dead, buddy.
You're dead. You're not coming back from this. No, and I mean, kind of moving forward here too is, see, I love this particular one. The name of it, structural entropy. There we go. So right now the MCU is carrying too much weight. Unresolved weight. Sorry.
I can relate.
What's that?
I can relate.
Yeah, unresolved weight. You're saying?
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I'm working on that same thing too. So the current load, and this is the hard part, right? And this is what I was just saying before, is that you got a celestial corpse unresolved, Kang instability, which we already know is not going to happen. Yeah. Abandoned characters like Shang-Chi, Moon Knight, Eternals, which that's another thing. The Young Avengers seeds are scattered. Sam as Cap is unanchored, and multiverse overexposure. And so just let's talk about this for a second. So with what we just said, right? So all these characters, yes, we already know, sure, Celestial Corpse unresolved. Well, I mean, it is somewhat resolved. It just basically turned into another different origin story for somebody else. King instability. Well, we already know that that's not going to fucking ever happen again unless they say, hey, we're going to reboot the whole damn thing. Abandoned characters like Shang-Chi and Moon Knight. I'm not saying the Eternals aren't important, but at least Shang-Chi and Moon Knight, like Shang-Chi was a very strong, I think for new era wise, was a strong character. That could be a great person to bring in. Moon Knight, I love the series, but the shitty part about it is because they didn't do anything else with it. They just said, okay,
I think
well,
the series. I mean, I did not like it, but I also didn't.
Well, I mean,
didn't like it. I mean, I think it was just chaotic.
It was chaotic, but I like the character. That's the thing. It was nice to see who he was, and like
I would have. I mean, I would have liked. And I know like one's like a crazy version and whatever. Like
there's like different. It's like almost having multiple personality disorder. But yeah.
But I would have liked to see just Moon Knight like doing something and not just focus on like the weird, crazy fucking shit that was going on. Like,
well, basically, it was like he was figuring out himself. That was all he was doing. So I mean,
but we never got like a season 2 where we would have seen like him
doing actual
Moon Knight shit. Like it was just him, and it was like if you've ever watched what the hell is that other show on FX? I think it's FX.
Are you talking like X-Men or are we talking
Legion?
Oh yeah, see that was a weird one too. But yeah,
I could not. I after like the 3rd episode, I was like, I have fucking no idea what's going on in this show, dude.
So real quick about that too is that Legion was supposed to be about Professor X's son, and then he basically it's like because he's supposed to be the probably one of the most powerful mutants regarding like telekinesis and like all the shit that basically Professor X had, and I think it was I don't know who.
But the whole plot of the show is a paradox of itself. It's like you're in his mind, he's in other people's minds, and then what you're seeing is
it's not really real. I guess
it's not real. So you're like, well, what the? It's like it's if you did Inception,
it's like
times 10. You're like, I don't know who the fuck's brain I'm like. He's in, I'm in, we're in.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What's my line?
What's my name? I don't know.
Hey, my name's Tom.
Just as a side thing, if you wanted to know what entropy means,
Okay, sure. What does entropy mean?
it means there's two.
Let me guess. Clusterfuck. No.
I mean, you can put it that way. There's two meaning. One's for physics, but
okay.
the main meaning is lack of order or predictability, gradual decline into disorder. That's the
Okay. So basically, I will just say clusterfuck because that's basically
the physics. If you really want to get geeky with this, is a thorough dynamic quantity representing the unavailability of a system's thermal energy for conversion into mechanical work, often interpreted. I think I made a new word, guys.
I'm interpreting.
Often interpreted as the degree of disorder or randomness in the system. So the sentence is the second law of thermodynamics says that entropy always increases with time.
Okay. Oh, well, really? Because they ain't doing it right now or any justice for this. I was also going to say you just mind fucked me with that definition regarding the physics one. I'm just saying.
This is from the Oxford Dictionary.
Well, I'm just saying. Anyways, moving forward now is like like I was saying about the other ones, but like Young Avengers right now, we don't have a fucking clue about characters and when it comes down to like who's going to be the.
I can say right now that there is no interesting character that could lead.
No, right now there's nobody that could lead. Correct. And I mean, the whole Sam thing, I mean, it just sucks where you look at him and you say to yourself, like, okay, so we have Cap, and he's, like I said, originally what we were thinking is that Sam was supposed to be the leader of basically the new wave of Avengers, and that's what we were thinking. But now there's no real plot. There's nothing, and
there's no anchor. There's no nothing. There's no saturation. There's no repetition with his character. It's just you put him in a movie 4+ years later, and then it's like, oh, that guy's still around?
Like, oh, shit, I didn't realize he was still here. No.
But apparently he can, like, counsel the Red Hulk into becoming human again. Like, it's just...
Like, how does that work?
It's a weird thing. Like, if you know anything about the Red Hulk from the comics, like, Red Hulk was smart. Like, he had all of General Ross's brain.
Right, he was tactically minded.
And if you had Sam trying to be like, hey, big guy, like, calm down. Like, we don't need... No, he would fucking grab Sam, rip his legs off, and then throw each into different areas of the city.
Right. And here's the other thing, too. Right? This whole multiverse thing. Okay, so I know a part of our name is multiverse, but I mean...
John, it's a different timeline. Come on.
No. Let's try this again, Matt. The fact that the multiverse is used as an excuse more than anything now. It's not even like it makes sense. It's just like a big ass excuse that they want to use if something fucks up. They're like, oh no, it's part of that.
That was a different timeline.
Different timeline.
Timeline.
Exactly. And they don't make sense. Like, when again, we love Loki, but holy fuck, when you talk about timelines and this timeline and this version of Loki and you're talking all this other shit. And then like, yeah, it's great. Like you brought in like the TVA and like you started to bring some of that stuff in, but like, holy fuck. I mean,
their own multiverse timeline bullshit doesn't even make sense when and I said this in the last episode. I probably said it in this episode. When you have a trailer for Secret War, it's not even really a trailer. It's just like a teaser thing.
Yeah.
With Chris Evans, and he's a young Chris Evans,
and he's holding a baby. Like, you're like,
what you establish in an Endgame was that you can't just change time like Back to the Future or all these other movies about time travel. What they establish is that if you go back and you change something, it creates a brand new branch, and that becomes that person's reality. So, in a sense, Secret Wars will have to go back.
Oh, definitely.
To tell that Steve Rogers, because the current one is dead.
Or what we assume he's dead.
He's dead.
He's fucking dead.
I think they established that he died like in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but
okay, I can't remember.
That he was no longer around, and you have to go back to that time frame and be like, "Hey, bitch, you fucked it up.
You done fucked up."
You created a new timeline, like you shouldn't exist here.
Right, because you're dead now. No, and then that's the thing, right? So this isn't really a collapse; it's accumulation. We have franchises that don't prune. They become noise. We have Secret Wars becomes a pruning event, which, the reason why I would say No Way Home was a great way to end that whole, like the different Spider-Man, in the sense of like the different universes. Like it ended that bullshit because it was perfect. It was perfect the way they did
How
it.
much you want to make a bet that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield still make an appearance somewhere within Doomsday or
Oh, they probably
Secret
will.
Wars?
No, no, no. You're probably right. They probably will somehow randomly get thrown in there. But I do agree with you but what we're talking about was like a perfect example of how they ended all of that stuff
Right, and
in
they
that
should have
short
been.
moment.
They should be pruned right there. Like you don't need them anymore. They went back to their own time. They went back to their
Timeline.
own timeline for their own, respective movies and everything.
Right.
They need to just stay that. Like you don't need to bring them back somehow because we're like, oh, I love Tobey Maguire. Get out of here. Like
No, but that's what I'm saying
needs
about
to be a
pruning.
pruning, right?
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like that was a perfect pruning moment. So like they could say, okay, you're done. You're done. Everyone else go back to their timelines, do all their things, and then call it a day, end it. And so that's what Secret Wars and hopefully, well, I don't think Doomsday is going to do it, but at least sure, we'll say Secret Wars if they can do it, do it. Because then if you want to talk about reset, there's your reset. If not, then you know what? You're going to have to say everything else. We're going to call it ready. We're going to call it MCU Elseworlds.
I know.
or something
But
different like that. But yeah.
The thing is like Secret Wars. I mean, obviously it's not optional because they're making the movie, but with what Secret Wars should be doing with the MCU as a whole is that it has to collapse these timelines cleanly.
Oh, I agree.
It has to establish a new prime MCU universe, recasting mutants with a long runway, re-anchoring a central villain spine, reducing the annual content volume, which I mean they have pretty significantly, and reinforce reoccurring characters, like saturating these characters in multiple projects. If they do that, Marvel hopefully will enter like a brand new phase of its life cycle where they won't be as fragmented and all these characters won't just go lost because they just can't include all of them with this reduced content. If it doesn't, you're going to keep seeing this fragmentation. Well beyond Secret Wars, you're going to see these nostalgia characters just keep coming back because why? They sell fucking tickets.
Right. No, they do. And it's like I said, both Matt and I agree that
As we slowly walk into the bush like Homer Simpson. Like we're like, I'm done.
Just kidding. No, no, and I mean again, and this is why we're saying that the reality of this whole thing is, just like the late great, the late great Ozzy Osbourne. We're going on a crazy train. Guess what? All aboard! And guess what? We're all going to either take it, and we're all either going to fly off the fucking rails, or we're all going to be enjoying the ride as we go around and around. But here's the thing: at this point, I don't know if seriously, like right now, like if Secret Wars, if you won't just decide the next phase, just it will decide whether Marvel can edit itself, right? And so like we're at a point where it's really about survival.
I cannot imagine that some, the people at Marvel are not looking at Secret Wars as being a reboot. Not even if it's a full reboot, but a partial,
like a soft, like a little,
like a little soft reboot.
like a little.
It's a little soft reboot,
not a full reboot. It's a soft reboot.
Because you have to understand. I mean, they have to at least understand that what you've done up to this point, like, cannot physically continue, especially when you're using 80 plus aged actors playing these roles. You can't introduce X-Men naturally in this world because you're using all these nostalgia characters. You just can't continue doing what you're doing and banging around upstairs, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Can you shut the hell up there? No.
you just can't. You can't do that. And
Yeah.
Secret Wars has to be this moment of, like what DC has done numerous times.
Right.
Like I said, not a full reboot, but something soft that will get rid of, you finish the arc of all these nostalgia characters, whether they die or whether they're like, I'm retired.
Oh, I'm going in the afterlife now. Like I'm gonna leave now. No, I agree with you. Like at this point, you know, because at this scale, correction isn't creative indulgence. It's to the point where we're talking about all these movies, and we're talking about how like the movies and these TV shows don't really give us this creative indulgence that we've been so adjusted to, as well as this expectation of what we've already seen for so long. And it sucks that we're not seeing that same level of hypeness, because, and I mentioned this multiple times. I know Matt's mentioned it too. You know, when you build something from the ground up, when you literally look at the first Iron Man movie, or sure, even the second Hulk movie that was technically the original starting point of those two. And then you go to Endgame and you're like, holy fuck, and we're here, we're bested, we're this and that, and then you get all this bullshit in between, and up until this, Doomsday and Secret War shit, like, what is the point of trying to create that same piece that you've already built? Like, if you already see how first phases of 1 through 3, have actually worked, you have your fucking blueprint, man. Like you literally could have. I'm not saying adapt to. I mean, sure, you could reuse some of it, but like fucking make something out of it. And all these phases, you could have easily made it. Make a lot of fucking sense. But like I think the problem is when you and I first saw, how they named like the first 3 phases as like kind of like the Avengers phase and like that, the kind of the beginning.
It
And
was
then
the Infinity
well,
War
the Infinity
saga.
War, well, Infinity Saga, but right. But then they
Yeah.
changed it to the multiverse. That was when they fucked up.
Yeah.
They
Well,
never should have named it the
honestly,
multiversal.
honestly, I think what they do is they fuck up when they talk about, oh, we're in phase 4, we're in phase 5. Like, you don't see any other franchise doing it that way. When we used to see Star Wars, like they would say, these are the movies, this is the timeline where they fit.
Right.
Like, I think Marvel as a whole, they need to ditch this idea of phases and to just go into planning movies and their shows. Make it one clean timeline of like, this is where this happens, this is where that happens. Not like, okay, we're in phase 1, it's the Infinity Saga, and then, well, phase 2 is going to be, the multiverse saga, and then, phase what? It's like, no, because then
Because then there's expectations behind
when we were in phase 3, and you go to that year's Comic-Con, they're like, this is what we're doing in phase 8. Well, guess what? Half of that shit,
doesn't
half of the
exist.
shit in 6 and 7, they canceled flat out.
Right. So you just gave basically hope for no reason. And you also disappointed fans at that point. And so like it's not cut and dry.
No.
So like that's the other thing is like because they're always constantly changing and this and that, and we've talked about how many times they've canceled shows or they had to scrap certain ideas and they had to do whatever.
You mean like Blade?
Like Blade is a prime example. Like, but it's just like you think that we're just sitting around like, oh, I guess we'll have to wait till the next year to find out about this. Like, no, like we've said, like the movies have done well. I'm not saying that you can't make a TV show, but hopefully make it fucking correlate to what the fuck is going on in the movies.
No, you
Or,
have
like,
to just get rid of the phases.
Well, yes, I understand. What I'm saying is like if you make a TV show, make it fit with the movies that are playing. Because
Well, yeah, I mean,
because then you can correlate it, and then basically you can actually know what the
it's-
fuck's going on.
It's a way of like, if they're going to next year's Comic-Con and they're like, hey, this is what we have this movie planning in 28.
Well, we're not in 28 yet, so
What they normally do now is that you wait until 2028 to see this movie with these characters. What they should do is say, we have this movie coming out in 28, but in 27, we're doing this show.
Right.
That features this character.
So that
then
you
you
can
actually
see it.
have a show based on that character. And they should have done that with Falcon and Winter Soldier and all of these shows, if you're going to do a show with Sam getting the shield and accepting that role, do Brave New World immediately right after, not 4 years later.
Correct. That's what I'm saying is like make it correlate as quickly as possible so that it makes
No,
sense.
you end up doing a show about a random person and then you never see them again. And that's what we're saying Marvel has done, and they need to stop doing that.
They need to follow their own fucking blueprint of what they did in the beginning and not continue us on with the bullshit that they're continually doing right now, especially where, like we've said, Doomsday and Secret Wars. Those are the two that, at this point, we don't know how well they're going to play out. And on this note, right? So whether, Secret Wars, is going to do well, that's actually all of us to decide on that, because
I think it'll still do well, but
we'll see. Well, at this point, we're
is it going to do what the fans want it to do?
Oh, correct.
Or need it to do?
Well, let's
see. Is it really the question?
Here's the problem. If the Russo, again, because Endgame did so well, and again, the Russo brothers did a great job at that, can they live up to their expectations with Doomsday and Secret Wars? That's the question, because they're the ones that have creative control on this.
And if these movies bomb, do you think Kevin Feige still has a job?
Nope. Kevin Feige will probably say, see you later. I'm done. We're gone.
That's what I think too. But anyways, we should we can talk about this all day. But I do want to mention one thing, because I started writing some fanfics, John.
Oh, what'd you make?
So I've joined this site called Archive of Our Own.
Okay.
It's a fan fiction site. And so far I have 3 fanfics that I'm working on currently.
Oh, okay.
Two are Star Wars.
Oh.
I did basically like a High Republic era fanfic. It's called Acolyte Curse of the Nameless.
Oh, so you used the name Acolyte.
Oh, I did, 100%. And
he's like, I don't care if it's copyrighted or not.
My second Star Wars one it actually features an original character, but I put it in that Order 66,
interesting.
prequel time frame.
Okay. Yeah.
So that one is Star Wars Left 4 Dead.
Wow, you're just taking video game titles.
Oh, I am left and right, man.
Left 4 Dead. I'm like, okay,
I'm doing it. And then I actually
hold on. Before you go on, did you title it Left 4 Dead as in like the way the video game spells it?
No, I have it spelled out.
Oh, okay. So that's good. At least you didn't follow exactly the way they spell it. Okay.
And then I took my book Echoverse.
Okay.
And I created my own fanfic of my own book.
Wow.
Where I'm doing Echoverse side stories. So these are, so far I have 2, and they're one's based on a fireman.
Okay.
Who, gets caught in, he's in the middle of, doing his fireman thing.
Yeah.
When the flare happens. Yeah. So these are all stories of just regular characters, regular characters that would be within the city.
Oh, but they're just showing different perspectives of that.
Different perspectives of their experience with the flare. So the first one's a fireman. The second one, what the hell is the second one? I don't remember.
It's a paramedic. No, I'm joking. I have no idea. I'm only playing here. But
no, it's a storm chaser. That's what I did.
Oh, okay.
So it's a storm chaser who ends up being able to control storms.
Oh, so you mean like
Storm?
Well, no, I was thinking. I mean, I guess like Storm, but I was also going to say I was thinking of what is it called? It was the one of the movies like Twister. Like I'm thinking of like the movie Twister, like the Storm.
Yes, I mean sort of something like that. It's that one has a little bit more of a tragic ending, but I won't go into it. But you can find me if you want to check out some of my writings. There, you can check me out on Archive of Our Own. I'm under Grumpy Beard.
Of course you are.
Of course I am.
As always.
As always. But I did just kind of want to shout out to myself, I guess, because
he's like, I just wanted to boast my ego here. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
If you do want to learn anything about Echoverse as a general, like what is the book generally about, I did actually do. Oh, I did an Echoverse canon retelling.
Oh,
from Ethan, who's the main character in the book, from his point of view.
Look at you, mister.
So hey. I'm doing some writings. Go check it out. Archive of Our Own. I'm going to try to add the site link.
Oh, to the page?
To our website so you can check it out, because I do have an artist page there, which I think I need to add Echoverse to that.
You probably do.
But yeah, Echoverse is published. You can find it on Amazon, Matthew Ryan. So check it out.
Okay, look at you, huh?
Yeah, look at me.
He's just like, No, so let's just say this. I haven't done a lot of other things yet, but like I know Matt saw my YouTube page that I was trying to make. I'm not going to say a whole lot about it. Let's just say I was trying to do something with it, and Matt's like, "You sure you still want to do that? You sure you want to do that? You don't want to be different?" I'm like, "I'm trying to be as different as possible, but the thing is that there's only so many things that I can think of that I would enjoy, and then it's again, Matt. I will give Matt with the whole author thing. I'm like, hey, do you, bud? You got to make your creative styles as best as you can. I got to figure out
I
something.
actually had thought about, if you don't know me personally, my daughter did give birth to a baby boy, so
Oh,
I
yep,
am
ready.
a
He's a what? Go ahead, Matt. Say it. I want you to say it out loud to
I
yourself.
am a grandpa.
Look at you. You know what he's gonna call himself?
Officially grumpy.
His name is.
But what I didn't tell you, John,
We're gonna
was
say it.
that what Rachel named Sullivan is his name. What she gave him as a middle name.
But see, here's the funny part. Facebook's a wonderful thing, and I know the middle name. It's your last name.
It is.
Which I'm surprised.
And they had told me that like a few days ago, kind of to honor the family name and my name and everything. So I thought that was really cool.
Well, here's the question, Matt. Sorry, Rachel, if you hear this. The question is, I'm not going to go too deep here, but you know when you and I talked about your potential last name that could have been different? I'm just saying it would be a little weird if it was.
It's not my last. DeSales is not my last name though.
No, I'm not saying DeSales. I was talking about Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Remember? Was it Shakespeare or the? It was. Remember because we were talking about.
Yeah, it was Shakespeare, but I don't know if I'm. Yeah, I mean that's a different conversation.
I know and I know, like I said, I didn't want to go bring up too much. I'm just saying, like, it would just be a little weird if you found out later on in life, you're like, oh, by the way, my last name's this, and you're like, ah, shit.
No, I mean my last name has been Gunther for 46 years. So.
No, I know.
Pretty soon, 47.
He's like, just so you know, he's like, that's how old I am. And he's like, and Matt and John's like, or Matt's like, John, why did you explain your age? I don't need to explain my age. I'm just gonna let Matt tell you his age. No, but anyways, yes.
But what I was gonna say was,
never mind.
Because of Sullivan, I was literally on the way over here. I was thinking, because through Amazon KDP, you can also do children's books. So I was actually thinking of
hold on,
maybe doing some children's books with Sullivan as the character.
Okay, so here's a question: regular children's books or the other children's books that we
no,
talking
like
about?
real children's books.
Okay. Oh, so you want to be sentimental now? Okay, makes sense because if you're talking about our children's books that you were talking about that really aren't children's.
No, I wouldn't use Sullivan in that.
Okay, well that would be a good thing because I would be like, let's not do that. See, and there you go. So now we know. So Matt's finally grandpa. I'm still a dad, and no, no, I'm joking. I am joking here. But anyways, we need to end this because we've been talking for so damn long. Yeah. So again, follow, interact, subscribe, tell your friends because that's what we like to do here. Follow the damn blueprint because I can't tell you enough about that. Honestly, I really think we should create a fucking logo just on that. The follow the damn blueprint one.
We have a shirt on our merch.
I know we got a shirt. I'm talking like a logo, man. We just have to have alternate stuff here. I think that's what we need to do and like start throwing it on random shit. Like make a sticker out of it. Make a things to put on your.
That's a different timeline, John.
Oh, was it a different timeline, Matt? Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. No, and like I said, check us out. You can go to the website. Matt's talking about all his stuff on, all his books and all the different things that he's doing on there. So again, check us out on the website. Check us out.
A lot of stuff on the website.
Right. I mean, go on social media because, we can't do this without you guys, and we need you guys to help us share our stories and all of our interesting topics that we talk about because, again, two dudes, two different mics. We can't do it all by ourselves. But we'll see you in the next universe, boys and girls.